Okay, so we've gotten through another day of Dr. Martin Luther King Day celebrations, and I heard so many people reflecting on his philosophy and how strong his philosophy has impacted people throughout the decades. My only problem with this celebration and the remembering of his philosophy is that it distracts from, to me, the most crucial need that faces us today. And it's no longer in the civil rights arena, but it's shifted to human rights. I'm not going to say we don't have racial problems in the world. Um, as we know, many have flared up over the past several years. But I am going to say the heavy lifting has been done in terms of um, racial inequity. The the biggest one that we had to overcome was slavery. Slavery was ended in 1865. It took us 100 years for us to bring about desegregation under the leadership of Dr. King. That was incredibly significant. That legally gave African Americans rights that had been denied for 100 years after slavery. As far as the African American community is concerned, although we're still suffering, the legalities, however, are nowhere near severe as to where they were and prior to the civil rights movement. I went to the South, I think in like about 68, 69 to visit a cousin. And I went to a restroom and she started scolding me and yelling at me and telling me, no, you can't go in that bathroom. And I had no idea what she was talking about. Well, it was just on the tail end of the civil rights movement, but it was still embedded in people's mind that certain bathrooms, certain places were off limits. So even growing up in the North, visiting the South, I got a chance to see the disparity that existed in the South. But we have other things, maybe more subtle, that may be as devastating. Well, they may have its effect, but what I'm trying to say is the legal battle's over. Now, when you come to economic rights, or particularly what I talk about are homeless issues, we still have a long way to go because there's no legal precedent that has been set that will um, recognize people who are experiencing homelessness as being a protected class. This applies to housing, it applies to jobs, hate crimes, just about anything where most people are protected, people are experiencing homelessness are not. So it's time that we shift our thinking to the humanitarian crisis that that we face every day. It's all around us. So it's just seemed to be ingrained that it's just supposed to be that way. Well, I think every um, generation has had a time when everything seemed normal. At one time, it was normal to be a slave. It was normal for people to sit on the back of the bus. But someone said no. They spoke up and said, no, this is not right. And as we know, Rosa Parks had it that day. That was sort of the catalyst. And she said, I'm not moving. And she got arrested, and we know the rest is history. Well, we're pretty much at the same place a half a century after that occurrence. We're still at the same place. There are people who are homeless who cannot get on the bus because they have too many cans, they have too many bottles. Um, we're discriminated against for that purpose. Can't go to certain businesses without being harassed, and a lot of this has been documented. Panhandling is seen as a crime, and it isn't. It is a legal right. Uh, so, this group of people, the slights and the lack of rights, are almost seen as normal. Most people think of homelessness as being normal. It isn't. It's far from being normal. Just as the rights of things that were taken away from blacks in the past weren't normal, the things that people have to suffer through when they live on the streets aren't normal. And we've got to begin the discussion. Many people don't want to discuss it. Many people have perceptions that are incredibly um, out of sync with the realities. So we've got a ways to go. And I looked, as I was watching the news today, I saw some people who were actually um, going out doing service for people.
This group of Northwestern Mutual employees are making it a day on, not a day off. This is not Jania Robbins' first year of giving back on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
I think it is a testament of what his dream was for everybody to come together and work as one. And I think we have a pretty good, diverse group here. And so I think it just lends itself to what his life's mission was.
And that is, to me, is progress. The symbolism and the going to hearing speeches, that may be necessary, but I think the facts about Dr. Martin Luther King, you're going to learn in school. You're going to learn in your history classes. The spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, however, on his day, should be in correcting some of the ills that we're facing today, mainly the crisis of homelessness that so many people ignore. So on Dr. MLK Day, I just hope that people will begin to recognize that as far as everyone being afforded rights in this country, it's not there. It's not there. Um, it's not even close in the instance of homelessness. But the homeless issue still lags way behind. It takes people with courage and it takes people with insight to see into that and not think it's normal. And I hope more and more people will begin to recognize that this is a need and not shun it and not shun people who are in those circumstances. Um, and begin to make some legal changes that will affect the lives of people today and for future decades. All right, so this is lit, and let's all dream of a better future for all. Peace, and I'll talk to you soon.